Hey, beautiful people, this is me, the Infinity Midwife, coming to you once again. I hope you're taking care of your minds, your hearts, and your entire being. So I wanted to make this video because I felt like I needed to make this video. Now I just brought out a guide. So if you go on my Patreon, like I said, my Patreon is a space where I offer a lot of DIY tools, a lot of hacks, a lot of ways of, dealing with things. I am the one that is very practical. I'm very hands-on. I'm very experimental with my life. And so a lot of things that I've been through, a lot of things that I have accomplished, I have put them in videos where, you can have easy access to. It's on my Patreon. And it's only for $11 a month. So if you're interested in getting some content, you will find some content there that's very explanatory, very useful for your own life. Again, a lot of psychological tools to help you. I'm not a psychologist, but I feel like I have this facilitation, or I facilitate a lot of, information regarding the mind. Okay. So this video pertains to, so I've created a guide, and this guide is in French, and it's an emergency kit, or it's an emergency survival kit for those that are experiencing separation or loss of a person. And the reason why I felt like I was called to create that kit is because I highly believe that we live in a society that will enable consumerism, that will enable you to consume, that will enable you to dive into beautiful emotions like joy, like thrill, like exhilaration, like all the happy emotions, right? Excitement. But I feel like the society is not prepared, or is not even tooled in order for people to go through traumatic events. I feel like this society has been built upon people experiencing life, but also people experiencing consumerism, right? So we consume ourselves in entertainment, whether it's we watch movies, we go to the theater, we go to basketball, sports game. We consume clothing, the way we look, the way we sharp ourselves, the way we carry ourselves. We wear jewelry, we buy perfume, we drive a certain car, we have a certain lifestyle, certain friends. I feel like this society is built on consumerism, so much so that it makes space for people to experience big, exhilarating phases of joy and excitement. Like per se, marriage, right? When people come together, where there's union, there's party, there's celebration. When there's birth, right? When people are experiencing, the coming of a new child in a family, that brings a lot of joy. That brings a lot of blessings. It brings out a lot of emotions that are positive into people, right? But I feel that this society is not built. And, there's a reason why, this society is built upon consumerism, because people spend more. The more you have, or the more you're joyful, the more you're happy, the more you're going to spend money, the more you're going to spend resources on experiencing those same emotions again and again and again and again and again. But life is not just based out of those positive emotions. Everything is built in balance in this nature, outside of this matrix, this 3D limited reality. So I feel like the society in which we live is going to encourage those happy emotions, but will not make space for people that are going through downfalls, people that are experiencing bankruptcy, divorce, loss of someone, right? All the negative emotions. I feel like this society is not built to have space for people to fully experiment those emotions, okay? And that is why I've created that guide, because yes, you're going to have space for people to celebrate unions and marriage. You're going to have space for people to celebrate life, the birth of someone. But you're not going to have enough space for people experiencing loss, people experiencing separation, right? But again, because the society in which we live is built upon consumerism, people need to be fully functional all the time so that they can continue to consume. But when you are experiencing downfalls, when you are going through a bankruptcy, when you're going through separation, when you're going through a loss of someone, yes, some employers are going to give you 2-3 days for you to, alleviate the pain, but it's not enough. Okay. The same way you're going to experience joyful emotions is not going to be the same when you experience those negative emotions. But guess what? Those two sets of emotions are going to enrich your life. They're going to bring enrichment. They're going to bring enrichment of experience in your life. Right? Maybe in the situation where you experience a lot of positive emotions, you're going to get a lot of joy, exhilarating. You're going to get a lot of, beautiful outcomes out of those beautiful positive emotions and situations. But when you experience a lot of negative emotions pertaining to loss, separation, bankruptcy, loss of material, loss of resources, right? It's going to bring you lessons. It's going to bring you some form of growth. It's going to push you further on your personal journey. But because this society is not built for you to experiment those negative emotions or those quote unquote negative emotions, right? You're going to have to, put a Band-Aid on that situation, right? Because people are going to want you to bounce back quickly, get back to work quickly, get back to, getting yourself a new job, right? Like when you experience a change of career, who's really there to encourage you into getting into that new career field? Especially if you're jumping from being an employee to becoming your own boss. Like, yes, there are programs that are out there that exist, but they're not really, again, it's very, what I want to say is, it's very subjective as to who gets those opportunities. For instance, if you come from a background that is fairly modest or poor, right? And you want to change, you want to switch your lifestyle from, having to work 9 to 5 for like 20 years and now finally thinking of, opening up your own business. If you come from a background or an immigrant background, right, you're going to find that you're limited in terms of resources as it pertains to people who have, form some forms of network where, they're heavily supported into, the come up of their business. Right? So that whole transition is not necessarily fully supported by the system for everyone. It is not a safe net for everyone to experience those type of career changes. The same will apply for separation and loss of people. Some people will experience loss of someone that are dear to them, and they're going to be well supported in the process. They're going to have time to really grieve and find time to grieve. And some people, because of their cultural background, their color of their skin, their class, their social class, cannot even grieve. They have to get back to work, or they have to make sure that their responsibility or, the person that they are taking care of or their environment is taken care of. So they don't even have time to grieve. So what I'm trying to say is there are double standards for people that are experiencing negative emotions due to loss of resources versus people who are well off and who can experience or are well, or have a safe net or a cushion when it comes to experiencing those same losses, right? People from from modest background, people from cultural background that are different from, other people that are well situated in life, cannot experience those same negative emotions. Okay, or those same negative emotions pertaining to a loss of resource, whether it's due to a separation, a divorce, a loss of someone, whether it's to bankruptcy, a loss of a job. Like, it's not equally, the chances and the opportunities of experiencing those same losses will not be given to everyone, is what I'm trying to say. And this is why I created that course, because I feel like everyone should have a chance to experience, positive emotions as well as negative. Because when you put yourself in this space of just allowing yourself to feel those negative emotions, negative again, quote unquote, you will find value. You will find small clues that will enable you to grow, that will enable you to have a different focus, that will enable you to value the things in life that really matter. But when you're not giving the time and the space or that safe net for you to experience those negative emotions, right? You're going to overlook certain things. You're going to put them under the rug. You're going to tuck them under. You're not going to process the emotions properly. Therefore, you're not going to have the same chance of evolving on your personal journey as someone who would have taken the time and who would have had the safe net of fully digesting and fully processing that loss of whatever resource it is. And I feel like we need to be giving the same chance. And that is why I've created that guide. Now, that guide is in French. But again, if I feel like the demand hits up and that people really want that guide to be translated in English, I will do it, right? Because I feel, again, we need to come to a space of dismantling illusions as why people feel that, negative emotions are negative and they're bad, and people shouldn't want to grieve, and people shouldn't want to experiment, a loss of a person. When you go through a loss of something or someone or a resource, right, you're going to feel a lot of grief. You're going to feel a lot of sadness. You're going to question things. It's going to put things in perspective for you, right? You're going to reevaluate. You're going to prioritize what really, really matters to you. You're going to probably feel called to, let go of certain patterns, certain habits, whatever have you. But if you do not have that time, if you do not have that space, that safe space for you to experiment those things, you cannot move beyond it, right? And then you feel stuck. Or you feel like you're just running around in circles without ever tackling the real issue, which is digesting that emotion, those emotions that are quote unquote perceived as bad. Okay. So that was just my video that I wanted to do today as it pertains to the type of society we live, the types of, conditioning that we have when it comes to, circumstances where, positive emotions are being triggered versus negative, or circumstances where negative emotions are triggered, and which one is more supported, okay, in the society in which we live. And that is why I've created the guide, this emergency kit for those that are experiencing loss of a loved one due to death, or loss of someone due to a separation or divorce. I hope that helps you. If you want to have the English translated version, let me know, and it will be my pleasure to do one. And it's available on Patreon right now in French. So yes, stay tuned for more to come. Peace, people. Mwah.